back, everybody. We are back at Bayou Terrebonne Distillers. Happy to be here. Week 2 of season 2. Mr. Hank Babin himself. How you doing, Mr. Hank?
I'm doing good. Thank you for making me number 2.
You're welcome,
I really
sir.
appreciate that.
You reached out to me quite a few weeks ago. You know,
Almost last year.
almost last year.
We almost fit. You were this man. Look, real talk. We didn't think that many people would say yeah on season 1, and just it rolled like that, and we were like, yeah, we get Hank on season 1, and then it just fell out this way.
I was nervous. Yeah, I was nervous. I wanted to be on season 1 because I wasn't quite sure y'all were going to have a season 2.
Yeah,
so
well,
you know how that
us
is.
either.
Yeah.
Okay. As we say, and every week, every episode, who are you and what do you do, sir?
Well, I'm Logan Hank Babin III. So from a multi-generational resident of Terrebonne Parish. You know,
Nice.
We've been here 4 or 5 generations, our family. Got a lot of ties into this building here, and you know, I'm in the real estate business. I do commercial and industrial real estate and appraisals. And on the side, I happen to be involved in the community.
You know, a lot of ties to Houma and this place and all that. And you know, I know your dad very well. We were just talking about a few stories of old Logan.
Edit those out.
Yeah, we'll edit those stories out. Your dad was actually one of the senior members on the Mardi Gras float that I grew up on. So
Your dad was the float captain
dad
when I
was
got
the
on
float-
there at 18 years old.
Manuel
So,
Merlos.
So a lot
Salute,
of,
brother.
Salute, yeah, appreciate it. A lot of good memories with you, your dad, and all through Mardi Gras and everything, so that was cool.
Absolutely. Good times. Good times.
Good
A lot
time
of good
growing
people.
up. Any cool Logan stories you can tell on that?
About Junior? Yeah, you know, Dad, one of the things I was real proud of is, you know, Dad went to the Air Force Academy. And 1958, you know, a kid in Terrebonne Parish. And the Air Force Academy hadn't been finished. Like, they didn't even have a campus finished at that point. So he chose to go there. And it was in Denver. I think the first 2 years, they hadn't even had a graduating class. So there hadn't even been a graduate from the Air Force Academy, and he decided to go there. But he's got a lot of great stories, you know, from those days and flying. But some of the funnest ones, I never really realized it. After they graduated and he'd go overseas or they'd fly to Spain or something like that. When they landed in Spain, they'd roll out the red carpet. Those were like the first Air Force Academy graduates that they'd ever laid their eyes on. So they'd have these parties and stuff, you know, at the palace and all this type of stuff. So he told some good stories, but I'm proud of him. He's got a lot of history to him.
And that's your dad, actually, right?
Yeah, that's my dad, Logan Jr.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can see him rolling around in a red Corvette.
Not so much anymore. He keeps it for the weekends. It's hard
Top
to get
down or
around.
top up?
He likes it top down. He likes it top down.
Nice.
Yeah,
So he's still having a good time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He likes to go fast. He's like Ricky Bobby. He likes to go
Nice.
fast.
Hey, if you're not first, you're last, baby.
I always say.
Logan Babin, tell us a little bit about it. What do y'all do? Y'all appraise real estate.
Really commercial and industrial. You know, we've been kind of behind the scenes for a lot of years. We represented a couple of clients that owned a lot of land here in town, managed a lot of property. My grandfather, who was Logan Sr.,
Right.
had
The
actually,
original.
yeah, the original.
OG.
Yep. He got into the real estate business almost by accident, but it was in the late '60s when Jim Walter from Tampa, Florida, the old Jim Walter home guy, he had ended up buying South Coast Sugars because he wanted the bagasse and Celotex to make the
the bagasse that you smell like.
they use it in
That's
building
profitable?
materials and insulation, and he got into every aspect of the houses. So he wanted,
What? I'm in construction.
Yeah.
What?
he wanted
That's in the
South. He
insulation?
wanted South Coast Sugars. So he
Shit.
bought South Coast Sugars right when they were digging the navigational canal.
Okay.
And so my grandfather recognized that was a great opportunity for Terrebonne Parish, you know, for the oil field that was really starting out. So he flew to Tampa, Florida, and he went to go meet with Jim Walter to talk about developing that area into the 10,000, acre industrial park that is there now, where Gulf Island Fab is, all La Ship, all of that area over there. I remember being a little kid when they had the dredging machines, and we had like a little, we were putting the rail down. My dad would take me on the little railroad car and stuff like that, and we'd see turning all that marsh into industry. So he was.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
And look, he never really, that was just one of those things that he did, but he was really instrumental in helping develop this town from a real estate and an economic development standpoint, and was on a lot of these old boards and stuff.
That place has come a long way since then, huh?
Yeah, it's come a long way. Needs a little bit
You
more
rode
work
that
now.
rail card, I bet, huh?
Yeah.
They
There's
put
no
out
more
a lot.
rail anymore. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So you said in your intro a little bit that you have some family ties into this building right here.
Yeah.
Noah, Nick, and Grizz took good care of it from what I see. Tell us a little bit about the background of the building that you knew.
Yeah, this was Blum Bergeron Shrimp Company.
Right.
And my
Absolutely.
great-grandfather was Leopold Blum. My grandmother was Sarah Blum Babin. That's who Logan Sr. married. I think they started the shrimp business in about 1911. And so, yeah, this had been in the family for a long time. Noah's done a fantastic job. I mean, the first thing I notice when I walk in is it doesn't smell like shrimp anymore. I mean, I just coming in here as a kid, you'd walk out and there'd be nothing but shrimp on
He's
you.
asked several times,
Yeah.
does it smell like shrimp? Because I can't tell anymore.
It does not. It does not.
The whiskey has taken over the shrimp.
I mean, he took care of it. I mean, he gave me a tour. If you haven't been here, come down here, check things out, get you some contraband or some LA1. But I mean, he's really just see the place too. I mean,
But he's talking about the historical value of this place, and it's like something you touched on. In the 20s. That's really cool that this building's still standing. It's still in function.
It endured Betsy, all these catastrophic hurricanes.
Been in families for generations and generations.
we had two buildings
Probably
like
only
that.
two
Our
families,
office,
right?
Yeah.
Your people built this.
Yeah.
So it's from Blum, and then it went to Noah, Nick,
Yeah.
and Grizz. I mean,
That's right.
We
Yep.
actually have
yeah, that's who they bought it
second
from.
generation owner of
Second
the-
generation owner, because when they came in here, it said it smelled nothing but the dried shrimp.
Absolutely.
So you're not only into real estate, you're a man of the community as well. Tell us a little bit about what you're involved in and what kind of pulls at your heartstrings.
If you really want to know what pulls on my heartstrings, my
I do.
family, my girls. I've got
Absolutely. I saw you on Facebook.
Shout
out to them.
Yeah, shout out to them. Married.
How many girls you got?
I've got 4 daughters. I've got 3.
Shout out to
yeah.
you, bro, because I raised 2 girls, and wow.
Before we get into, you mentioned your family.
Yeah.
Before we get into let's go into. I'll let him ask you again. Let me rewind
Pull it
a
back.
second. You
Pull
talk
it back
about-
a track.
You talk about your family.
Yeah.
I want to point out something. You post on Facebook all the time about a certain tradition that you've kept from your dad and now to your girls. That's pretty close to me too. Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
A Star Wars. So somebody in your family has seen every Star Wars movie that's come out in a theater, right? In a theater.
Well, me.
Yeah, you.
For one, and then my dad has, because my dad brought me, to the
Right.
first one. I remember we were like, I think, the last 2 people that they let in, and they only had 1 seat, so I had to sit on his lap and watch it, and it was like, we were like on the second row, and you were staring straight up like that. So I was hooked, and
I'm a Star Wars
loved the movies
I
and
had to
stuff
point
like
it
that. Yeah. But my youngest daughter enjoyed the movies too, and we kind of made a tradition of, the first day when a movie came out, we'd go and
That's
of course
cool.
the lines aren't long anymore, but we still had fun. We'd go see them, and then we brought my dad. So one time we had 3 generations of us there to go watch. I guess it was the last, the
Jedi.
Yeah. Yep.
So back to what I was saying earlier. What tugs at your heartstrings? What do you like the most about it? Obviously, besides family.
Yeah. Well, obviously, right now I seem to be the most involved in trying to deal and bring some reforms to our recreation system is what I seem to be known for the most now. But I've been involved in a lot of other things over the years on a lot of different committees and boards, locally, on a state level and stuff like that. So my grandfather and my dad were always very involved in the community, have always, given back, and I've kind of seen that. And it's just, we've always, if we see something that looks like it needs help or is wrong, we just want to fix it. That's it. I mean, not for personal gain or anything else like that. It's just if we can try and make something better, we want to try and make something
Better for your kids and everyone else's kids.
Yeah, I mean, that's what
you're not only thinking about yourself, you're thinking about
Yeah.
the community, and
That's what a community. That's what a
giving back.
community is.
Right.
Yeah, that's what a community
Someone
is.
has to help out with that. So if you have a good heart and you're good into the community, you can help with it.
That's what we try.
Is it encouraging somebody that is so passionate about the community and stuff? Is it encouraging to you to see where we're going nowadays, especially like coastal restoration and stuff like the levees were built,
wetlands.
Yeah.
wetlands and stuff like that.
Especially after such a long period
Correct.
of time where we haven't seen that.
Where it's
I mean,
stagnant.
and
nothing.
being from, I grew up in Upper Little Collier, and you can drive down the road now, and the water's on the road. You know, and it's you take a plane off at the airport, and there's the Gulf of Mexico
Yeah.
as soon as you get past Woodlawn Ranch Road. So yeah, to finally see something happening there. I know we got some good news from the Senate. I was listening to Senator
did.
Kennedy the other day, and so it seems like we've got
Right.
some more money for Morganza, or at least get it, you know, in the system. That was some good news. So yeah, it is encouraging.
promising.
There's some, you know, there's definitely some positive things moving forward. I mean, you can always try and improve, right? I mean, that's really what we all ought to be striving to do. Doesn't matter whether it's in your business, with your family, or in the
Correct.
community. You can always try and do better.
Right.
And
Every day you should try to do a
and
little
try
bit
not
better.
to be stuck, right? Like
Don't be in that rut.
It seemed
Don't
like
get in the rut.
and we kind of talked about this a
Yeah.
little bit. It seemed like we were in a rut a little bit, and now we're kind of moving towards the right direction.
Yeah, well, it's natural. People don't like change.
Correct.
We get comfortable,
Yeah,
and people
absolutely.
don't like change. You
the
hadn't
same way.
changed your shirt in 50 years from the New Orleans Breakers. You know, I like the old USFL days. Some
I got a hat
some
that says
Buford
New Orleans
Jordan.
Breakers.
Buford Jordan.
A lot of people,
Buford Jordan, my
a lot
man.
of people wouldn't get that reference.
Oh,
He
yeah.
gets- he
I
gets-
remember that.
Hey,
They
look,
were the
man,
Boston
he pulls some
Breakers
references
first,
out
so-
on me every once in a while.
Yeah,
It's kinda
yeah.
great.
Right here,
So I
New
remember
Orleans
those
Breakers.
days.
I mean, I got a
My
hat
aunt
that's like
and
32
my
years
uncle
old.
took me to this game. I believe maybe my grandpa was there. It was man, shit, it was fishy. I don't remember that far back. I was a young buck, but
Right.
I think it might have been around 84, 86, somewhere around there.
That sounds about right. The USFL days were the early
Yeah,
80s. The,
right. It was
the
right around the
spring,
World's
the spring
Fair.
lead. Oh man, the World's
Shit, I
Fair.
think
I
this
got stuck on the gondola over
This-
the river. I remember
Hey,
that.
did you?
Oh,
We
yeah.
did too, man.
Yeah, I think we had my
I know what
mom's
you're talking
Afghan rug in the dang thing with us
Man,
too.
I
Yeah.
remember we was
I'm
with
not
my
that old.
cousin, and we got stuck, and he was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna die! We're gonna fall over the river." I mean, it was
awful. It
wild,
happened
dude. I
often.
was like
Yeah.
6 years old.
Yeah,
It was-
that
I think this
happened
was like the logo of the World's Fair.
I remember the Bayou
I think
Bucks.
I remember the Bayou Bucks. You know, I remember that. Manny was a trainer of the Bayou Bucks.
You were a trainer? I
He
didn't realize
trained them
that.
on.
Casey remembers.
We had box seats. I
I
remember
don't
that.
know.
That
We
was
talked
fun.
about that in season 1. What did you train them on?
I was in sports medicine when I was in college, when I used to be in college, but
Let's get back to you and
where we
and the
were,
community.
Cane breakers. Yeah.
Dive right in.
Let's jump in
We
there.
talk about how we were talking about where we've come from and moving forward, right? And I know you're a big part of the community, different organizations and stuff, but the one you're most involved in is rec reform, and kind of speak on that a little bit. I know that's
We could be here a while, but
Yeah.
no, we won't.
We won't be there. We won't crack into
yeah.
it. We only got
No,
so
Here's
many
the Cliff Note
Yeah.
version condensed.
Well, I told you I had 4 daughters. I got 3 in college now. One's a junior in high school. So obviously, we went to a lot of sporting events.
You've been
around
through the
town.
ringer, basically.
Yeah, I mean, they played volleyball, softball. We had a TPR basketball, soccer, tennis. All the type of things. So we were here. We ended up traveling a lot. We talked about that, how everything's changed.
Yeah,
correct. It's
Travel
travel-
ball. I told them before.
Travel
Travel
ball.
ball. When I was their age, I went to St. Genevieve in Thibodeau. That was travel ball. I had to go to Thibodeau for a game.
You made
and
the
that was
All-Star
it.
game.
Right.
And your
And
Travel
All-Star
ball
team.
for us was an all-star.
Yeah.
You
Then
made
you
the
might.
All-Star
Yeah. Then you
team.
might go to Lafayette.
Yeah,
you made
dude,
the
we were
All-Star
kind
team
of
to
good.
play
We went
2
to
games.
Dallas
Right.
one time, and that was it.
Yeah.
These kids go to
Oh.
Cooperstown and all. We
Yeah.
went to Dallas as a basketball team. They
So-
go to Cooperstown to the Hall of Fame and all.
over.
We
It's
were
out of
going
control.
everywhere from Texas to Florida, for all this type of stuff, which many people are.
So they were-
this is
your
a thing.
girls travel.
They did some travel.
Okay, correct.
State tennis tournament and stuff like that. So you go and you see what other places have.
Right.
And we'd see this, and all of the parents said the same thing. They're like, man, why don't we have stuff like this, back home? So we said, at probably 2011, 2012, they started having the meetings for the sports park, talking about that in the community sports park, and how that was going to be a thing. We just kind of wondered, it was like, well, we kind of see some construction, but what's happening? And in 2016, the head of the Rec 2-3 board actually came and talked to our chamber committee one time, just giving us an update on the park and where everything was, because it's an infrastructure project. It's a
right.
huge deal from youth and quality of life and economic development. So he came and gave a speech and was kind of telling us how things were kind of stalled in the construction. And we're like, well, let's get involved. Let's try and help out. What can we do to help?
Let's push it forward.
And then so we started contacting, some of the people, the places that we went to in these other parishes and these other towns. We're like, well, how did you do this? You got this done. I mean, that's what we did. We just went back and researched and said, all right, you have one. We'd like one. How did you get there? And so we started comparing and contrasting what other communities had done, and then came back and said, okay, well, this is what we think we might need to do, but we need to study our system to see how that would be implemented here. Because quite honestly, every other town had passed like a 10 mil tax, a 1% tax increase, something like that. That was huge to get it built. And we didn't do that. So we just started looking in the system. And then we realized we didn't necessarily have, it wasn't just a problem with the park, that we had a system that had grown, just after 40 years, had kind of outgrown what we kind of needed today.
It was old. It was
and
outdated.
it's like, so how do we change what we already have, because we were given plenty of money into this existing system? How do we change that? And so then it just got into looking at a whole bunch of numbers. I'm a numbers guy. I'm a finance major. And I just started looking at that type of stuff. And, we really were just trying to help out. And present some ideas and stuff to the community and to the politicians and the council and everything like that. And like we said, people don't like change.
Right.
And listen, the people who had been working in investing their time on these boards and as coaches and everything else like that, they were very passionate about that.
Yeah,
they had spent a lot of time on it. Some of these people on these boards had been there like 30 and 40 years.
And all their intentions were great.
Absolutely.
Those were great people.
Absolutely. They were doing the job that we had always said, hey, do it this way.
Correct.
And then we came in and were kind of like, maybe we could do it differently. And
to be more profitable.
I think it got adversarial, and that was
like
a shame. And it shouldn't have been.
And like you said, it started off fine, but things change and things evolve.
Right. It's hard to accept change.
Well, we talked about
change is good.
In 1985, when we started this existing kind of system, we didn't have travel ball. And recreation has changed, and sports has changed. You have different things that people participate in that weren't available back then.
They didn't even have soccer back then.
Yeah.
Soccer was not available in 85.
And not to mention, Terrebonne Parish has changed. We're growing as a city.
Growing exponentially.
Not necessarily extreme sports, but you have the BMX, dirt bike. You have people that are doing different things than just stick and ball recreation.
Right.
So that's changed. The money changed. The community changed, the demographics changed, and what we found out is just we never took a step back and changed. And I say this sometimes to people, and it's in leadership seminars you hear this phrase, you're standing too close to the elephant. Yeah. When you stand too close to the elephant, all you can see is gray. Right. And that's pretty much what nobody had ever stepped back and taken a look at the whole thing.
What else?
So we had a group of people who kind of did, and we were just trying to help out, and that's really all we've been trying to do is institute some positive change for the community. How can we take what we have, do a better job with the money that we have, and deliver to the people what the people want their tax dollars?
Correct.
And that's it. That's pretty much it.
Just give them something good.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So
that's awesome.
And that's cool. And look, we've had quite a few people on the show that we've talked about, downtown, changing downtown, the sport,
the whole Chris Pulaski was talking about doing the downtown development
demonstration. The demonstration day where they changed everything around.
Day. Yeah. That's what I was looking for.
Reverse angle parking is the big word.
Yeah, reverse angle parking.
That was hard.
I think that was
a lot of people didn't like that. So we talked about that, and we had Dean on. That's talked about the Civic Center and the things that he had to change.
Yeah, Dean's doing a good job.
Sports park. Yeah. Look, I've been seeing some posts on the Facebook space.
Got that rainbow trout on there.
Just dumped some rainbow trout. Listen, the first time they thought this was a great idea until the first time they got a kunas in the middle of that pond with some waders on, fly fish. I'm telling you.
Man, he's going to do it this weekend.
It might be me this weekend. I'm just saying.
He just bought some waders last weekend.
My Cabela's waders came in. Okay, I'm just saying I'm going to be in the middle of the pond.
He was waiting until the Saints were out the playoffs.
Yeah,
they out. He got shit to do this weekend.
But look,
that's what he's doing.
There's a pond. There's a pond there, fishing pond. There's a beach there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff
boys
going on.
Baseball complex, girls softball complex.
Yeah, Dean's doing a good job. I mean, and you know, he's got. Dean is a great promoter. I mean, you cannot look at anything that Dean does and not get enthusiastic.
Right.
I mean,
And
if you
go
look at
like,
his
you know what?
Facebook
That
posts
guy's
and
no
stuff like that,
energy
oh yeah,
and-
yeah.
No, that
and
guy-
everybody knows Dean, and so
Right.
he's doing.
He
He's
wants
doing
to
a
do
great
good
job.
things, man.
But all this was more than just about the sports park. That was kind of like the catalyst of everything.
Right. Correct.
When you started realizing, like I said, as a dad, I was a coach. You know, I coached my kids' TPR basketball
Correct.
team.
Absolutely.
We had trouble getting gym times, and you know, you see some of this other stuff, and you realize, well, maybe how else can we do it? And so, you know, there's been a lot of people that have been hired. There's been a lot of change that's taken place over the last couple of years. Gordy's done it, and Parish President Gordy Dove's done a good job. He's hired some new people. You know, Roddy's done a pretty good job with TPR. And look, change takes time.
Yes.
And
It doesn't happen
and
overnight.
Roddy's been trying to change some things there, and has done some positive things. I heard they're just adding flag football to TPR.
I heard that.
Yes.
Yeah, today.
So listen, my little boy, we've been dying for it.
Yeah.
And they added it, so it's on their registration now.
Yeah, I saw it on
came
their
out
page.
today
Yep.
for TPR, all the registration dates
told Caden he
for
actually
everything. So
couldn't.
Caden's going to play flag
You
football.
told
Awesome.
Caden that he couldn't tackle nobody, right? It's flag football.
He's not
If
going
you
to
tackle
know
him, then
that
you can take the
yet,
flag, right?
but we're going to
bet
slowly
Caden-
introduce him
yeah,
to
coach
him.
him.
Caden's very aggressive.
But no, it's cool. And yeah, it's cool. We got flag football now. That's really awesome. That
That's
we-
cool.
yeah,
That's,
we're
that's
involved.
taking off too in Lafourche.
And I think what you see,
Lafourche
well, that's
is
a lot of people
killing it
will
over
go
there.
into Lafourche. Yeah.
Look, it's not only like in Thibodeau, though. It's down to by where
Yeah.
I'm from. They do a big old flag football in South Lafourche.
Okay.
It's humongous. Like all the kids down there play
Well, I'll
flag
tell you
football.
this. The Williams Park right there, the baseball field on Williams by the gym and everything. I think they still have the same scoreboard that my dad and Bud Belanger and all those guys raised money and had a
Yeah.
weekend to get a new
Yeah, I
scoreboard
think so.
like when I was playing TPR. So, you know,
The gym
some
looks a little
updating.
newer, but
It,
the
take-
baseball,
it takes
for
it
sure.
takes time and money. And look, a true parks and recreation system is about more than just youth sports. And I think you're seeing about that when when you're talking about the trout and the beach and the family day use
And then they got the
area.
walking
and look,
track by
even
the-
down
where you're talking
even down in
about.
Montague, they put a fishing pier.
Yeah.
When you go to other places, it was more than just about youth sports. And so we're finally starting to recognize that. You're starting to see some dollars spent on that because, you know, your quality of life, your health and well-being, just getting out, walking around,
Right. Yeah,
we got
being
this-
in green space.
We got the Summerfield Park. They've updated
Yeah.
that.
The
in
Frisbee,
past
the
couple
disc
of years.
golf, yeah, the disc
Hey, they got
golf
that
coming.
disc golf, frisbee golf, whatever it is. But
So those are positive. There has been a lot of positive change that has taken place in the last year. There's been a lot of people involved in doing that. It's it's not something that we did, but it was just
Right.
we brought attention to an issue, and I think a lot of people are talking about it. I think they'll still be talking about it. We obviously still have a lot of room for improvement, and anything you can do to improve, you should be trying to
Absolutely.
do.
Absolutely.
And especially in this day and age where, look, all of us are tapped out, right? From taxes, the economy,
Yeah,
everything
for
like
sure.
that. So it's incumbent upon, I think, our government to kind of look inward and say, can we be doing a better job with what we're collecting now? And that's really all.
turning
To
it
me,
into
that's
something
really
better
what
for
this
the
is all
community.
about. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, I
turning it into
definitely-
something for the community.
I definitely don't want to be paying more taxes than I already am, but I mean, helping out my community is a different story, and
Yeah.
being involved and things like that.
Right, you want there to be
We get
something
involved.
for not only your kid, but your kids' kids.
Yeah.
Because we all have kids that sit at this table, but one day we're all going to have grandkids.
Right.
And
Well, and the
then
lucky
great
thing is-
grandkids, hopefully, we could be old enough to see. So you want progress. I
Yeah.
mean,
And the lucky thing is with stuff like this, as voters, we get to go vote
Yeah.
on the taxes, and that's the way that it should be. That's
Right.
that's
So
that's the
there
democratic way.
So, kind of for information purposes, putting it out there, there is a Facebook page, right?
Oh yeah, we have one. It's called Rec Reform.
Rec
At
Reform.
Facebook, we got a website, recreform.com. Where you can go in and just kind of, and we put that up a couple of years ago, just so that people knew, they could see exactly where we stand.
Right.
That you wouldn't hear from somebody else. Oh, they're about this. Oh, they want to do this. This is look
It's
at
right
it.
here.
Here's our 4 goals. Here's what we're saying.
in ink.
It's on the internet, so it's forever. Apparently,
Yeah.
what everybody's learning.
We know
and
about
it's
that.
true. And it's
It's true if it's on the internet, right?
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean,
Facebook,
everything we
true.
read, is true. So,
Yeah.
and now we're actually doing more, I guess, of social media because Facebook's easier to just put posts
it's
on. So that's
easier
pretty much what we
to
do.
keep people posted, like what's going on. Like if there's we kind of, I've been following for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and if there is a tax coming up or a thing, something to vote on, y'all posted on there.
The people
kinda
deserve to
inform
educate the people.
and educate people.
Yeah,
Oh,
as
you
much
guys
as you
kinda-
can.
You
I
break
like
it down to them. Here, read this. This is what it's about.
Well,
Not-
and it's hard because taxes and millages, when we start talking about all this type of stuff, I mean, look, I've been looking at this since 2016. I'm still finding out things today that I didn't
Right.
know.
You learn.
There's still, it's very complicated. And we can try and make it a little bit easier. We can try and make it better. We can try and make it better for the people. But it's hard. And so sometimes, sometimes when we start talking about the numbers, you get I was about to say you get the brook trout look, but I guess you get the rainbow trout look.
Yeah.
For Dean. For you,
Boom,
Dean.
there you go,
See
Dean.
what we did there?
Yeah, you saw how I did that? But you kind of see people get lost in the numbers, and so I guess you try and break it down. They should see the numbers. They should know what's going on. It's their money, right? It's their money.
A lot of
and
people
so
don't
they
realize
should,
it is.
Yeah,
It's your
they should
money.
they should be able to see that. And like I said, when we looked at some stuff, there were some shocking things, just because I really thought I thought we weren't paying enough into the system. That's why we didn't have the stuff. And when we looked at how much money was going into the system versus other places, and when I say other places, other parishes in Louisiana, we're like, well, wait a minute, we really should be getting more for the investment that we're. How can we do more
bang for
with
your
with the almost the same revenue that we're bringing in now? That's really what we're about.
Let's do the best for our community, and that's what we're all about.
Community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You said it. You've been doing this since 2016. A lot of research. We've talked about this before. We were texting about this last night. You've looked at a lot of things. What is something that you have seen, or I don't know how I want to say it, but what's something that you have found that you would like to see, like the biggest thing you think needs to be changed, or that you would like to be changed?
One of the most
Going forward.
Yeah, one of the most surprising things when we sat there and we looked at all these districts,
Right.
is these district lines. And Terrebonne's grown. Like just from this, Terrebonne used to be cane fields, all up in the northern part of the parish.
Yeah.
So you used to have these lines that used to be a cane field. Then we
Summer
started
field.
building all the houses. And so now the lines don't really follow a
Is
street.
that how they still
or,
break them up?
Oh yeah, like they'll run through the middle of a house. Like, yeah, but I mean, the line was there, the house was built. It's not like they drew the line, afterwards. It's that's just the way it kind of happened. So what was kind of surprising was this disparity between neighbors, across the street or next door to one another. And we found this, in the most part, was in the Summerfield area and in between.
Was a big cane field.
In between what's Rec 2-3 and Rec 9. Rec 9 is Bayou Black, and Rec 2-3 is basically Sugar Mill, Summerfield, and kind of loops up 311 and to Broadmoor, where you are. It kind of meanders around.
All right.
And so we'd go in and I'd start taking a look at some of these things, and you notice these two people that live right next door to one another, or right across the street from one another, whose kids go use the same parks,
Right.
who, they go and
They
use
play
the
each other
walking
on the
track.
weekends and recreation.
And the same thing. One house might be paying a tremendous more amount than the other house. And one example that I think we'll show when we put up there is, there's a house in Rec 2-3, it pays, $51.80 for their recreation taxes, and the house next door that has the exact same assessed value pays $183.
Cool.
I mean,
Directly next door.
directly next door or across the street. And this is happening, this is happening all across, that area. And that's just one example
they don't
between
even
two
realize
districts. And no, they never realized it.
No
They
one
never
realizes that.
And nobody
Yeah.
realizes it because it's kind of,
And-
it's like you said, it was,
and
it
grew.
was so far.
Yeah. Nobody planned it that
Well,
way. It's just kind of happened that way.
And they give you a total at the end. They say this is your tax bill, and usually you just pay that bill. You don't really
tax,
look at it.
property
What's
tax.
the breakdown?
Which we all just paid tax bills.
You
we
just
all
pay. You're
wrote
like, hey,
checks.
it's what I got to do,
Yeah,
right?
but we just did it. We just did it a couple of weeks ago, and so look,
this is
I've learned a lot about millages. I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but your tax bill has about 30 things in it that all add up in Terrebonne Parish, roughly about 97 to 100 mills, and it's not millions of dollars.
Right.
But everybody's different. So if you're in one district, you might be paying a lot more, 10, 15 more mills than somebody else. So that's how you end up with that disparity between two houses, where one person's paying about $53 and the other person's paying about, $183.
So this is this is crazy. I mean, we've been talking for a while and kind of talked a little bit last night, and you actually looked up my old house that I grew up in.
Yeah.
Which didn't run on a line, but
It's right.
I've lived next door to, right?
The example we're talking about are your two next door neighbors that you grew up next to.
Yeah, you sent me a picture. You're like, you recognize this? I was like, yeah, my two neighbors. I was like, yeah, right in the middle of those two. Right down the alleyway.
And they don't
separates. They don't know.
And they don't know. And nobody knew. I couldn't have told you what district I lived in up until a couple of years ago.
Until you started researching.
Yeah, and that's just kind of the way things are. So how do you hit the reset button? How do you make both of those people should be paying the same rate.
Right.
Every house and every business in that area should be paying the same rate for the same service.
Right.
I mean, look, we're sitting here, Noah's sitting here making, contraband and all this stuff. If he had 4 friends walk in and want 4 bottles of contraband, and he charged one person $5, he charged another person $7, another person $9, and the last person $15, he wouldn't be selling that much.
You would never sell contraband again.
Because you can't charge 4 people 4 different rates
for $15
for the same product. And so what we've done with the math is say, okay, look, how does he earn that same amount of money? And when you look at it through all the millages and stuff to be neutral, it should be 6.5.
Right.
Would bring in the same amount of revenue.
Simple division.
If everybody paid $6.50 for his thing, and that's
not common core division.
Yeah.
Simple division.
That's metaphorically speaking, but that's how you just sat there and did it. It's all just math. And I go to the assessor and I'll show him these numbers and I'm like, is this correct? Is this right? Like, this is verified by the assessor. We're not just making this up.
Right. Correct.
And so, when things are out of balance, to get in balance, you've got somebody coming up and somebody coming down. But when you're neighbors, when you're friends, my kids' teammates' parents, people sitting next to me on a bench, when we're going using the same stuff and we're paying these 2 different rates, that's just not right. And look, I'm paying the low rate. I'm paying the lower of those 2 rates.
Correct.
And I just look at those 2 things.
You just want equality.
I look at those 2
things. It'd be
things.
like Manny and me, who's always hanging out together. Let's say we live neighbors.
Yeah.
God, that'd be so fun. But anyway, let's say we were neighbors. The line divided, and I was paying $40, and Manny was paying $80.
Yeah, you wouldn't be happy.
I would not be, because I'd say, man, that's my brother. He's paying more to me. Why does that?
And nobody knew.
But if everyone, like in our circle, who we were all living next to and all used the same facilities, all paid the same amount, that's fair. How do you do that? How do you reform the recreation to where it's not lines and it's more grouping like that?
And that's a tax issue, that deals with recreation. And all taxes and property taxes get voted on. Okay. So you'd have to bring something to the people. You can't just wave a magic wand.
Absolutely.
We don't get to change it.
Correct.
The politicians don't get to change it, but they get to put it on a ballot. And so what we've always been asking for years is, hey, look, let's hit the reset button. Let's get back on a foundation where we have balance, because this isn't about the next 4 months. This isn't about the next 4 years. This is about the next 40 years. Yeah. This is the area where you're going to have the growth continue in Terrebonne Parish. So let's make everything equal and balanced, in terms of that. And then that way you can grow and have some synergy and not have competition between districts and provide for the people more than what you're providing for now.
People stay here. They want to stay here at that point.
And that's, look, quality
they
of life.
want to raise their children here at that point.
And listen, I came about this started becoming an issue for me when I was, I said, on the Chamber Infrastructure Committee and stuff like that. And one of the main things that everyone in the room, now I'm a small business owner, I really don't have employees, so, we're kind of self-employed as realtors. But there were a lot of people who were engineers, they ran medical practices, they were in the oil field, and they were sitting there telling us, this is a problem. We can't fill positions. We can't attract talent to Terrebonne Parish.
We've heard that already on this show.
We have people who are leaving. We need quality of life things. And it's not about stick and ball, recreation, what I've been hearing people talk about. And it's about quality of life project. It's about the fish in the pond. It's about hiking trails and nature trails.
And
it's
we've
about
talked
the type
about
of
that several times. Like Chad just said, I mean, it's
passive type of recreation.
We've had conversations about Bayou Terrebonne.
Yeah.
We can't go canoeing and
everybody turn around.
Kayak. Everybody turn this way, or downtown. The reform of that.
It's an important issue. So
a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but and I looked this up today, and somebody was like, "Well, man, you can't even be talking about this stuff. Is the time right or whatever?" I looked this up today. If you lose an employee, it's on average in America, it costs an employer about $7,500 in cash to get a new employee. That doesn't include the downtime, the training, the mistakes made by somebody new. So the cost of losing an employee, the cost of not being able to hire someone, is so far outweighs, what we're sitting here talking about, and just trying to balance something, because we're not trying to pass something new on top of what we have.
Right.
So we're talking about balancing.
It's just bringing it.
Yeah.
A, B, and C all making.
So what number you think? What number are we looking at? I mean, it's not. We talked about it.
Well, I mean, it's easy.
Astronomical.
It's math. If you sit there and you look at how much revenue is coming in now in a particular 4 districts that we think can happen, because I look personally, I've looked at the numbers. You can't consolidate the whole parish, given on where we are right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's something we can do, as we move forward in the future. So if you just sit there and look at that, it's 6.5. It's 6.5 mils. And for somebody like you and me that live where we live, we're paying 5. So that's 1.5. But for a person who lives on the other side of the street that's paying 15, they're coming down. But now we're paying the same thing.
So
I looked up
$12.
I looked up your tax rate. We're talking about $9.60 for you. Like a couple.
So you looked it up. It's $9.60. So for $9.60, your neighbor could possibly go from paying $15 to paying $9.60.
$45.
People spend that on people.
Why would you not want to do that? I mean, that's what makes a community.
Well, and that's
what Starbucks coffee. That's a cheap one, bro. You ain't been to Starbucks lately.
No. Going back to that, not much. And I think it's not the money part. We're talking about $8 or $9 or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the money part. It's just the information. Getting the information out there.
Yeah. And taxpayers need to be educated.
Taxpayers need to be educated. We're not talking about this big, huge, drastic change that needs to happen.
Increase in taxes.
And that kind of happens when people start talking about taxes and different things like that.
People get worried.
People get worried.
But there's people who don't want this to happen, and you hear people sitting there saying, "Oh, this is going to be a 40% tax increase." Well, it's not. It's not. If you look at your whole bit, it's not. It's just really disinformation. And it's sad because you just want people to know the truth.
Right.
Have the truth, and look, the best place to take a poll is at the polling place.
Yep.
All right?
Put it to a vote.
Let's have democracy over bureaucracy. Let's put it on a ballot, and let's see. And look, if the people are for it, great. And if they're not for it, and that's been our position. That's been our position for years. So I hope something comes about with that. It's not up to us, but that's kind of we there seems to be some other people that are kind of listening and thinking maybe that's not such a bad, and looking at the facts. If you look at the facts objectively,
right,
you really kind of only come to one conclusion.
Right. And you're why haven't we done this earlier?
Well, and a lot of people who have in this, I've had many people who've come to my office that sit on somebody's board and said, we should have done this 20 years ago.
Right, absolutely.
But we didn't do it 20 years ago. So what do we do now?
So we need to do it now.
Right, what do we do now? Let's
quit pushing it off.
Quit kicking the can.
Now look,
Correct. Don't kick the can. The Saints kick the can. Guess what's going to happen to them next year?
This is what we've been talking about for a season and 2 episodes now is, I said that right? Season and 2 episodes?
Yeah.
Is changing things, where are we going
Change
forward.
Is good.
Change is good. We want to see it.
Right.
I got a 6-year-old. She's going to play softball and all that good stuff, and she plays down the parks, and he's got a 6-year-old. We all got kids. We all got, families, and we all live in this community we call Houma, Terrebonne Parish, and we want to see it prosper.
We want to be the best we can be and reach our potential.
Absolutely.
Like
we
a
want to
coach
be better
and a kid
than we
on a
could
team
be.
in recreation.
Yeah,
all you want to do is try and get the most potential that you can out of a team. Together,
We're gonna
everyone accomplishes more.
We're going to make the best of what we got.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Make it
And
work.
that's a coon ass spirit right there.
Absolutely.
I like it.
Speaking of coon asses and the best we got.
All
right,
Important
let's go.
questions coming now.
Questions
I
are
feel
coming
it.
to you hot. They're gonna come hot to you, bro. Your ideal Louisiana Saturday night would be what?
Cool. Man.
Long
Well,
time
you
old
play,
Louisiana
right.
man.
Play a little Pedro.
Oh,
Always play a little Pedro.
Ooh, that's gonna be good
Some
to my next question.
Some
We're gonna get there later.
chank dancing.
Yeah.
You know, and a little fiddle and a washboard. It was a little good. Some crawfish.
Yeah.
Gotta have some boiled crawfish and
And I
some
know
boiled shrimps.
for a fact, big
God,
LSU
bro, I
fan.
want to hang out with this guy.
Oh yeah, and man, listen, if you could have a Saturday night that had the national championship game on it, fine. But an LSU game with the Tigers winning over Alabama, that
Go
would be
Tigers!
a perfect
You
Saturday.
think we're gonna regroup? You think we're gonna? I like the two
hope so. Hey, look.
offensive coordinators that
Yeah.
we just signed. We got an offensive coordinator and a.
We gotta get a defensive coordinator.
Passing,
Yeah.
we were going for the Saints defensive
90.
coordinator, a guy from the Saints, I should
From
say.
Terrebonne.
My man,
There's
Mr. Mason Smith.
Mason Smith.
Number
Cover that
94.
guy,
Yep.
talk to him.
Love that boy. He's
I
gonna be
like
good.
where 20, next year's going.
Well,
with the
look,
Tigers.
heck, for the Tigers, we got nowhere to go but up.
That's it.
So, look, we lost a lot of people. They had, we lost every coach. Heck, they took the video guys. USC
Right.
stole the video guys. I mean, I don't think anybody
They
in the
took the
history of
cameras and
sports
all, I heard.
has lost
We never-
more
we didn't have-
players, more coaches,
We didn't
and
have
the
one
video
hype
guys.
video this
Right,
year.
yeah. I mean, so they came in and took everybody.
Clean house, bro.
We had the Rock
We were
on the
naturally
hype
going to
video.
go down.
It was
Right?
basically
So
a
now we
clean
got
house.
nowhere to go but up.
We
got
had
some
the
good
Rock on the hype
good
video.
leadership. The entire offensive line's coming back
How
now. They
impressive
said
is
so.
that, bro?
Hey,
Coach
look,
The
Joe's
whole
doing-
D line's coming back, so my man Mason's gonna have to work.
Coach O's doing a great job. I didn't even think about that. They took our video guy. We had
video guy.
We
They took
had the
everybody,
Rock.
man, well.
We had the Rock on last year, and this year, not one hype video.
it's almost like
Hey,
Belushi
I
and
saw-
Animal House. They took the ball. They took everything.
Yeah,
They took everything.
everything. Other than rec reform, this is where I started off at. Other than rec reform, where would you like to see Terrebonne Parish next 10 years?
Well, I mean, hopefully we're seeing some of the things that we've been talking about progress and all those quality of life projects, that aren't just purely about recreation, but you did touch on one thing and you have been touching on, I know it is, obviously between this building that we're sitting in,
Right.
that's over 100 years old, that's
Yeah.
been in my family for a long time, my office building on
Yeah.
Lafayette Street, over 100 years old, been in our family since the 60s, downtown means a lot to us.
Yes.
And this used to be the place to come. And this is common, in a lot of other places. It would be awesome to see more happening downtown. I know there's been a lot of effort, and I know Chris has done a lot of good stuff, and there's been a lot of plans and ideas. It's hard, it's hard
It
to
is.
change. It's hard to change that up.
People
But
don't
I would
like
love to
change.
see. Yeah,
People
I
don't
would
like change.
I would love to see some of the things that they've been talking about in downtown, so people can come here and congregate, come here and have a good time, be able to walk down the street,
Go to Mahoney's,
sit on
have
the
a drink.
outside.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean that would be something else that would be nice.
I love that.
One of the other things though,
Near
one
to all of
of
us.
the
Love
things
that
been-
answer,
that
bro.
I've always wanted to see done is at the air base.
Okay.
Where the old blimp hangar used to be.
Yes.
Remember the old blimp? You know what I'm
Yes,
talking
yes.
about? The ribs that are sitting
Yes,
there
yes.
where
It's
Duplantis
all
truck
the-
line used to be.
they're
Where we
concrete.
went and fought World War II. One of the only places in the continental United States we fought out here. I wish they would figure out a way we could put some money together and rebuild the front portion of that to where you could see that structure and make it kind of a museum. I wish our museum was there with some of the stuff, but man, wouldn't it be awesome
We
to
got
do?
a nice
and-
museum downtown.
Yeah, we do have one.
but it would be good
That'd
for the
be
east
cool,
side
yeah.
of Houma and the other side, and
it
just
would kind of bring some people over there.
Well,
Big
and not
Grove
only
East
that,
side,
it would
too.
educate them because nobody knows that took place right
They
there.
don't know what's
and
there.
then even when you see that, you can't even imagine how big that place was. So it would be an impressive thing to see.
That's
I would
awesome.
love to
I
see
would like
it.
to
but-
see that
yeah.
too. I would like to see something. You touch on that. Downtown's not, doesn't stop at Barrow Street. Continues over east side, crossing
Right.
the coastal,
Yeah.
everywhere. Kind of grow Houma into something that
Yeah.
everybody
Both sides
can
of the
enjoy.
intercoastal.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Take some pride.
I like
Okay.
that. I like that idea. I got a buddy of mine that flies planes. I'm gonna talk to Juan to see if they get that get that happen. All right, my second question. You ready
Okay.
for this one, Chad?
Let's hear it.
Favorite Cajun food? Only can eat one the rest of your life.
I love fried shrimp. Love fried shrimp.
Anything with shrimp,
All
my
of it,
man.
yeah. But I love fried shrimp. I should say dried shrimp because but I love fried shrimp.
Hey, back to the
Fried,
roots.
yeah, fried shrimp. Fried shrimp is my
There's
favorite.
so many things you can do. Shrimp po'
Yeah.
boys.
You know, like Bubba Gump.
Yeah.
Fried shrimp.
Fried shrimp on top of fettuccine.
If you get somebody who could really just get a good marinade in there and fry shrimp good, bro. There's
you go
nothing
back-
better
if you
than
go
a
back
fried shrimp.
if you go back on Spilled Liquor Productions YouTube channel,
okay, I'm
plug
going
in
back.
Spilled Liquor Productions, you go way back.
Pulling that out of my brain.
There was an
I got a file
episode.
cabinet. Okay,
There was an episode where we did a review on a restaurant with a bacon wrap fried shrimp po' boy from Griffin's.
bruh.
Oh man.
That
That was
thing was
good.
phenomenal.
That's probably one of my favorites.
That
is
was
my favorite.
that was very
But
good.
you can't
That
go
was
wrong
very
with bacon. Yeah,
You can wrap bacon.
You had
in
me
it.
at bacon. All right, yeah.
You wrap anything
Yeah.
in bacon
Yeah.
on me.
Dude, if you
probably-
put bacon with cream cheese, I mean, I literally would not think that anything would taste bad with that. I mean,
Especially in a
literally,
jalapeno.
you could do whatever. You could bacon, cream cheese. You could do whatever with it. It'd be phenomenal. Here's the heater.
Oh, man.
Obviously, he likes to do this. We talked about his
Said it
ideal
once.
Saturday night. He said it would be involved in playing Pedro. So, you're from Terrebonne Parish. Mm-hmm. You play cutthroat or you play follow suit?
Cutthroat.
Cutthroat.
There should be a scoreboard.
Obviously.
Should I hang a scoreboard? Cutthroat's winning.
I knew what your question was
Okay.
going to be before you asked
Cutthroat's
it. yeah.
winning.
How did you know the question? Have you watched any of
No,
our
because if you
episodes?
have a question about Pedro, that is the only question that you can possibly have about Pedro.
Well, there has been other questions that
Okay,
have
I'm
brought
gonna
up.
ask you the next one.
One.
Let Manny ask him.
Wait, one question has been brought up by a member of our audience here tonight.
So the question is, when you're forced bid, is it 6 or is it 7?
That's a good question. I like it.
Mr. Babin,
I like 7.
you like 7? I play 7.
Yeah. Well, you playing on the app with all the people from Finland or something like
he
that?
plays
That's
six.
6. That's 6.
I play 7.
That
he
app's
said that we
different.
could-
It's the only way you can play online, but that
There's some
that's
people
6.
from the Foosh that would say follow suit, force bid 6. I'm just that's all I'm saying. I mean,
Hey,
you
listen.
heard it here. You heard it
I'm
here.
gonna tell you what. My parents are the best people you're ever gonna meet. Force bid 6, follow suit, just like Jason said. It's what it is. I don't play.
I guess,
I play
you know,
whatever. I can adapt. I'm a chameleon now.
It's a culture
I can
thing.
go to whatever.
It don't make no never mind.
So,
Right.
at,
I'll whip your
As long as we
ass
play,
any
that's
way
all I
y'all
wanna
want
do
to
is play.
play.
at Bayou Terrebonne Distillers, I can tell you this: it's force bid 7 cutthroat. Is what
God
it is.
created it.
Is
That's
what
how
it
it's
is.
meant to be.
We asked the question. All right, we're gonna have to
So
change
let
up
it
the
be written.
questions, obviously, because we have so many Terrebonne people, which is great. But everybody
I
in
think the
Terrebonne,
first question is great. Do you
First
play
question is
Pedro? You gotta
But if
ask
you're a
that
serious
first.
Pedro player, you got to talk about what the force bid is.
Yeah.
right?
Because that's
He
a
brought
rule.
it up
That's
on
a-
our Facebook
We're
page.
gonna talk about the force
I'm glad
bid.
you-
Hey, the game is to
you
what?
brought it up on
The
Facebook.
game's to
It's
52 or
important.
62.
60, 62. Yeah. Look,
Dude, I don't know where this comes from.
I don't know what it's
Where
154,
Where the
52,
hell have I been?
62 all day, every
Yo,
day.
Terrebonne,
What do you do?
A couple 1428s ball game.
Do you wear a dress when you play? I mean,
I
come
played
on,
at
man.
52 my whole life.
62.
I learned it at
Oh,
truck
man,
stop.
I didn't wear
I
a dress.
learned it. Look, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what I learned.
I
At.
bet you did.
311 truck
I
stop.
bet you did.
I learned at United Diesel at break time. They play like 6 games in 15 minutes. It was cutthroat,
just get it.
4-7,
Yeah.
like
No,
cards
think-
down,
no
cards down,
thinking
cards down.
inbound. Just
yeah, done.
no. Where I'm from, you have to think about this game.
One day we're gonna.
It
one
was
day
the
we're gonna start
62,
One day we're gonna start talking about Cuban style. We're gonna play
52 or
dominoes.
104.
I'm
52
all about
or
some
104.
dominoes. I'm all about some dominoes.
Jason, thank you for bringing that up.
for
I
having me,
appreciate the Facebook question.
Oh yeah.
Y'all thought we were just.
Hey,
gonna
we
read
appreciate the
something off
crowd
of Facebook.
tonight. Y'all are great. Thanks to the crowd.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you guys.
And once again, thank you, sir, for coming
Listen,
out.
thank y'all for having us.
Spill
Appreciate it.
Liquor Productions by Terrebonne Distillers. We out, baby.
Thank you, brother.
Cheers.